It has been a bad week for the Ground Party, ending with the $355 million against Donald Trump. Start off with Taylor Swift winning the Super Bowl. We went to the special election, which the GOP lost handedly, and the border and women's rights came up, and they were losing steadily on that. We then had the guy who was giving false information is now getting arrested, so the House, who has been trying to get all this nonsense on Hunter Biden, now no longer has their most credible evidence because the guy was lying. There is now going to be a problem for Donald Trump. There'll be no false equivalence between impeachment for Elder Biden and impeachment for Donald Trump. And then financially, in the fortnight, Donald Trump has lost $90 million for E. Jean Carroll because he has to pay $9 million to fight this, on top of the $83 million she was awarded, and then the $355 million today. So that's $440 million. I know the emails went out to the Red Hats for money, and it's the reason why he wants his daughter involved in the RNC. The people that are following him off the cliff like a lemming, this is how the GOP does. He's got his own family, he's wanting to have his own family involved in the Republican National Committee. That's the person, that's the job that decides how to allocate money for all the different races. There are 435 different congressional races. A third of the Senate, which is 33 senators, are up for re-election, plus the president, plus all the local and state stuff. And Donald Trump is foolishly, and thank God for us, kneecapping the Republican Party. They are bereft of leadership. Mitch McConnell could not get a bill passed that he approved. That doesn't happen very often. And at the same time, we have what's coming down from Jack, and we have the trial that's going to start on March 25th. This was the least impressive of the trials coming up for Donald Trump, but it's going to be first. And the legal minds are saying between 4 and 8 weeks. So that's between April and May, Donald Trump will either be found innocent or guilty on 30 plus charges? Unless he does some type of plea deal, he's more than likely going to be found guilty, and Stormy Daniels is going to be talking, along with other people. And at the same time, don't forget, in Georgia, we're going to have Fanny's trial, and we're going to have Kenneth Chesebro, Mark Meadows talking about Donald Trump and the attempt to steal an election. You have Mike Johnson not doing anything. Again, this is the least productive Congress we've had since the Great Depression, since 1929. They're not doing anything. They took 2 weeks off in the middle of February. Why? Because they're down to one, a margin of 2 votes? And Steve Scalise, who's getting, cancer treatment, who voted against stem cell research, and he's now getting it. That's Steve Scalise. He's due back next month. But it's like, they got the Mayorkas indictment done, but it's not going to get through in the Senate, so it's dead. It's DOA. It's dead on arrival. It was a useless ploy because it doesn't do anything for normal people. I would like the border problem solved. I'd like for them to spend more money there so we could have less problems and get people in and out in a more regular fashion. It would be much better. It would be also better if, I didn't have to worry about the GOP trying to destroy a woman's right to choose or anything along those lines. And by the way, in the state of Florida, there have been 1.1 million people taken off the voter rolls. Please, for the love of God, check your voter registration. The Republican primary in Florida is coming up in March. Make sure you're eligible for that. If you're registered as a Republican, if you're registered as an independent, just check that. If you're registered as a Democrat, check that too, because the GOP is trying to outlaw the Democratic Party in the state of Florida, because, that's what fascists would do. Please remember that the GOP is systematically attacking voting rights for people that are lighter colors or darker colors than I am. The rainbow, Medicaid, Medicare, veterans benefits, education. They're not willing to fund children having lunch over the summers, banning of books and repressing our First Amendment rights, and of course suppressing voters like they're doing in my state. That's just 10 things off the top of my head. You know they're doing worse things aside from that. I didn't even talk about abortion and what they're doing to women. The GOP is hurting America. Please do yourself a favor. Check your registration. Please do yourself a favor. Please talk to people and get them to vote. There are 220 million Americans, and only 160 of us voted in the last presidential election. Let's get those independents out and make sure we have that blue wave so we can ensure we have democracy. Please remember to vote true and vote blue, and you all have a wonderful weekend.